All right, welcome to the Tip to Tip How I Met Your Mother podcast. I am here with Linda. I
What
am
up?
I am Grant, and we are here to review, dissect, internalize episode 3 of season 1 of How I Met Your Mother. The Liberty Bell. That's what it's called, right? Yeah,
Sweet
Liberty Bell.
Taste of Liberty.
Sweet Taste of Liberty. I'm sorry.
You're close
I
enough.
wrote everything but the title on my note sheet. That's all right. I got it up on my computer too. I got a second screen going, so
Are you
I got
gonna
it
do
up
the
there.
entire episode with sunglasses on?
I don't know yet. Maybe let's see.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
No, and I got my wrestling shirt on because it's I just want to say, if you don't celebrate, I apologize. I don't like to bring religion into the podcast,
I apologize.
but happy WrestleMania week to all those who do partake, and I would like to acknowledge that. All
Happy
right,
Mania week.
back to
And happy 420. Almost.
420 and Easter, I guess. Jesus did rise for this shit to happen. So he did.
Happy all those things. It's a great week to be alive.
Yeah, mostly WrestleMania. All right. So this episode was I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
So did I.
I had some real big laugh out loud moments that I've seen this episode a million times, but like, man, sitting there watching and dissecting this one and the jokes hit me, I'm like, man, that was just genuinely funny.
I feel like it's been a long time since I've like watched season 1 and not just like put season 1 on to like go to sleep.
Yeah, like not marinated. Like I just kind of,
Yeah.
I didn't eat it. I just let it sit.
Yeah, I forgot some of the great one-liners in this episode.
And man, do they do a good job of making you feel like Barney and Ted have been best friends forever.
Yes.
Like you can tell how close they are as friends.
They really do.
All right, let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Barney has decided that it's time to break Ted out of his habit of going to the same bar. So Ted just wants to go to McLaren's again, have another night at McLaren's, and Barney says, absolutely not, sir. He tells Ted that he wants him to do something legendary. Barney pulls Ted into his cab and tells him that he needs to pick someone up at JFK Airport. While he's doing this, Barney says, Ted, get in. Marshall, you too. And Marshall's like, I kind of got plans with Lily tonight. And Barney's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's cool. And I love Ted's like, why can he do it? And Barney's like, because he's getting laid.
Yeah, and then Marshall's like,
consistently.
Yeah.
And Ted's like, all right, I guess I'll get in the cab. Barney tells Ted that they are posed. So he tells him that he needs to pick somebody up at the airport. However, Ted did not realize that Barney meant that he was going to the airport to pick up chicks. Barney tells Ted that they are posing as international businessmen who have just returned from a lucrative trip to Japan. However, Barney then decides that they should fly to Philadelphia just because two beautiful women are also heading there. This is hilarious because Ted's under the impression Barney's picking up a friend from the airport, or like has to get someone.
Yeah.
Which is just funny that none of them have cars. Like, it's so weird because we live in Ohio that nobody's got a car. So they got to together take a cab and go get somebody from the airport. Why can't some person just take the cab to them?
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that because we've seen other airport scenes in How I Met Your Mother. And like Marshall drives to go pick up Lily.
Right. So I think that's funny, but that didn't like ding in Ted's head. He's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
So Barney literally means he wants to pick up chicks, hit on women at the airport. Which Ted fights at first, and then he does try. Oh, he says the best is when he says Ted put the luggage on the ramp or whatever the hell it's called. And Ted's like, I'm not doing that. And Barney's like, well, I can give you a long history, storied reason of why you should do it, or you should just do it. And then he
waits for the history of it.
Yeah. And he's like, well, the luggage was the most popular thing and Ted's like, oh God, and just threw it on there.
All right, fine, I'll do it.
Which is funny because much like Ted's children, Ted has no patience to hear an agonizing long story from Barney.
You know, I made that correlation too, and I think it's really interesting because like Ted hems and haws about all of Barney's like fabricated stories, and
Yes,
then 25 years later, he's doing the same kind of fabrication to his kids. It's a nice little like full circle moment.
it is. It's funny. So then they go to Philadelphia to hang out with these two chicks that paid attention to them. Really didn't even do anything merely than pay attention to them. There was
No.
no like excessive like we're getting like you guys should, you know, spend the evening with us. We should be together. We should date. We should
I mean, if anything, they more or less embarrass themselves in front of these two women because Barney shoves Ted over a luggage cart.
right.
And like also, I don't know if this is a 2005 thing because I've never seen it. I've also never like flown internationally, so it might be more popular in that regard. But who brings so much luggage to the airport that you need a cart?
Families.
Oh,
Yeah,
see
like
that
when
makes
families go to Florida together.
that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. See, I don't have kids.
Yeah, I can remember going when I was younger with my grandfather and my aunt, my uncle, my mom, dad, sister. So we all had like a cart. It's like when you go into the hotel, there's a big cart to take all your luggage to the room.
I'm tracking. I'm tracking.
Yeah. So there's,
Uh,
you know, but probably these bitches just probably had a bunch of shit in there. Fucking
yeah,
unreal.
yeah.
Barney probably had 37 suits. Well, we'll find out what Barney had. So they go to Philadelphia. Barney calls. Oh, so they get on the plane. They find out that the girls have boyfriends that are linebackers, I
Yes,
believe,
linebackers for the
for the
Eagles.
Eagles. So immediately Ted's like, "Wow, here we fucking go again, Barney. Thanks a lot. Like, thank you a lot." And also, it was weird how they're just casually chatting in the plane. Like
Right.
Barney's got
Barney's
his
like
feet like
sitting in
kicked
the
up. Yeah,
aisle.
yeah, like sit on someone's armrest, just chit chatting.
Very 2005. Although
9 11.
post nine
Right.
11, I don't think they would have let that happen.
No, it would have been more like when the lady yelled at him right away when he got up. So I also tracked that Barney's like this rebel, this rule breaker. He's like, Ted, it doesn't matter. I'll do what I want. And then as soon as she pops on the thing, and she's like, sit back down. The seatbelt signs on. He's like, yes, ma'am. So I thought that was funny. So these two chicks have boyfriends while they're talking to the when the plane lands. Um, well, let's go back. Barney calls Marshall to come to Philadelphia. Barney calls Marshall to come to Philadelphia in the Fiero because it is going to be legendary. However, Ted and Barney eventually find out that these two girls have boyfriends that are linebackers. Look at my memory. Good for me. For the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles, obviously. When they got off the plane, they didn't really get off the plane. So when the plane landed in Philadelphia, right? Because they were on the plane still when security came.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, security took them. Ted and Barney are taken into custody by the airport security since they left luggage on a carousel in JFK and purchased last minute plane tickets with cash. Now that's a very 9/11 thing. There was
Right.
like a constant watch your bag, watch for bags, check for the bombings.
Yep.
Oh, they just
Don't
left
go
these
near an
bags.
unattended bag.
Yeah, call somebody if you see an unattended bag. So it was just funny. Like, all right, we can sit on the plane and just, vibe out and chat with these women. But I wonder if maybe it's because they were in first class. They never say, but Barney, I'm sure, didn't. I'm sure these linebackers were not, they were paying for their girlfriends to come.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like
So, and
we
Barney's
know
Barney.
Barney's got some sort of like secretive job that
Yeah.
makes him a crap load of money. So
So I
like
wonder if maybe it was first class.
they weren't flying economy. There's no
No.
way.
So, the luggage of the carousel last minute with cash. They're held there. So they're held there for a while. But Barney realized, okay, so there's a lot more than this one sentence. They're held there for a while, and that's when Ted explains the ruse to. Well, first they asked him what they're doing there, and Barney said, "We're international businessmen." And Ted's like, "Oh my god, dude, Barney, like this is his plan." That he explains the whole play to him with the luggage and picking up the chicks, and they're basically like, "Yeah, nobody'd be stupid enough to do that."
Right.
That's ridiculous. And Ted's like, Barney, tell them. And he's like, we are international businessmen on a business trip.
I also love that the security guard like backs up Barney's point about Ted's shirt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
I'm talking of the shirt.
yeah, because Barney's like tucking your shirt, you look sketchy.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, okay, Ted looks sketchy because he's got an untucked shirt, but you went to an international airport just to pick up chicks.
And he's wearing a whole ass suit.
And he's wearing a whole ass suit. And then the security guard is like, never seen an international businessman with an untucked shirt before.
Right. And Barney's like, see, I told you. So they so then they call Marshall because they need a lawyer.
Hmm.
And I was laughing because Barney's like, we have a lawyer?
Right.
It's like, Jesus, dude. So then Marshall's like, all right, going to Philly. And he turns around, going back to Philly. And he's like, do not say anything. Do not let them intimidate you. You don't have to say anything without your lawyer present. Hangs up, going to Philly.
I think at one point he also sings the word destroy,
Yeah.
which is probably my favorite part of the entire episode. This is where we get introduced to Marshall making up songs for the most mundane shit.
Yes.
And it's
And
another thing that they introduce in season one that they carry through the entire
entire
series.
thing. And somewhere in this, before we even got to all this, he was studying for his some exam or something again. He had to study for.
Hmm.
And he was singing during that. He's like, we're just studying. Whatever the hell he was doing. He picks up the phone for Ted. And he's singing out. He's like, hey, it's Ted Mosby or whatever. But that was another parallel. And I get that note here. That was another parallel of Marshall being stuck between
Hmm.
wanting to be I say a kid, but not really a kid, out with his friends and living a 20-year-old's life.
And also being a
And,
law
but
student.
also being a law student where as he sees, I hope this is worth it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he
He's like
just,
making a responsible choice for my
yeah.
future.
So like it's a real like stuck in between that same situation, which I like because it tells us, Lily and Robin are off doing their thing, Ted and Barney are doing their thing, and Marshall is kind of in a struggle with himself
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
wants to be doing things.
It really humanizes Marshall as a character
It
because
does. I agree.
it shows that he wants the best of both sides, but it also shows that he knows when to like take a beat and put what's like really important in front of him and focus on that.
Agreed, because I think he realizes that if he whoa, did I hit record?
Yeah, it says this meeting is being
Oh,
recorded.
woo! I got nervous. I was like, oh shit. All right, we're
PTSD
good.
from
We're
last
good.
week.
I know that's why I was like, wait a second. This seems to be going too smoothly for me. So yeah, so I think that's real cool with Marshall, and that's an ongoing theme in
Hmm.
almost every even when he becomes a lawyer and the lawyer to a judge, and it's a constant battle in between his job and work and family life, and it's and I really like that sticks through. Another thing that sticks as a theme through
Yeah,
the entire thing.
yeah, I agree.
So then um they're held up for a while, but they're released when Barney's luggage at JFK is revealed to contain only condoms and one power one what and mounds of condoms. Just
Yeah,
they
there's
open it,
probably
it's
like a
just
hundred condoms in there.
it's just fucking full of condoms. So
One power bar.
mind you, they have the whole bomb squad. Like they're searching it. They're trying to see if there's a bomb there. And they finally open it. It's just condoms. Now, if this was real life, these two would still be going to jail.
Oh, most definitely. Just for like inciting panic or whatever
Right.
they would call it.
So they get out. They let him go. Ted calls back Marshall as he's driving. And he's like, "Never mind, don't come. We're good. It's we got out. They let us out." And he's like, "Are you sure?" Like Marshall really wants to go now. Like he's in journey mode. And they're like, "Yeah." So then Barney talks to this the security woman.
Yes. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was one of like the airport security guards in the like briefing room or whatever you call it.
Yes. Okay, Sasha, I believe is her name.
Mm-hmm.
So then they go to Sasha's house because Sasha invites them over to watch the Eagles game or a game. I don't know if they specify what they were watching.
I think he just said like Sasha's having friends
Oh,
over for
friends over.
drinks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they go to Sasha's house, and it's not much of a party, although Barney also claims that this would be legendary, which it wasn't. But everything Barney does is, we got to do this. This is going to be legendary.
Mm-hmm.
And this reminds me a lot of our friend Nick, because he was always like, it's, we got to do it. It's about the story. It's about, that was his legendary.
I mean, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Every group needs a hype man, and
Right.
like this group's hype man is Barney.
And with Nick, we do it, and then it would usually never be like 1 out of 10 times, maybe it was actually worth the story I told later.
Yeah. And not to say that those instances were bad, but they weren't legendary.
No, there's
They
nothing
were
like,
just somewhere in the middle.
right. But I guess the legendary part is that constant theme of, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. It's going to be, and it's not.
Yeah.
So they have to be quiet at Sasha's house because her grandfather is sleeping. You cannot be loud while granddaddy is taking a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then Barney finds out that there is a gentleman there who works at the Liberty Bell. They are in Philly. It works at the Liberty Bell, so he starts asking him questions. He's like, "Have you ever touched the Liberty Bell?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Have you ever looked inside the Liberty Bell?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Have you ever licked the Liberty Bell?" This guy's like, "No, like, what the fuck
No.
would I lick the Liberty Bell for? Like, what kind of ludicrous fucking idea is that?"
And
And
because this guy says no,
right,
it then becomes something that Barney
legendary,
has to
right.
achieve.
So then Barney, so Barney decides it'll be legendary to go lick the Liberty Bell, and Ted initially declines, but after Barney tells Ted that he is his best friend, Ted agrees to go with him. Now I have written here. They're in the cab to go to the Liberty Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And Ted from the future says, I had no idea how Barney redirected the cab without me knowing, but we got out. And then Ted says, Data let us in, and by God, we licked the Liberty Bell. And you know what it tastes like? And it cuts to McLaren's, and the girl's like, what? Ted's like, freedom. No, it actually tastes like pennies. And the girl's like, my God, did you guys really do that? And then future Ted says, we really did. And that's when I realized why I hung out with Barney. I never got where I thought I wanted to go, but I always got a great story.
I have that
And
one written down too.
yeah, and I think also, and then also on the cab ride there, Barney says, look, our forefathers died for the pursuit of happiness, okay? Not for the sit around and wait for happiness. Now, if you want, you can go to the same bar, drink the same beer, talk to the same people every day, or you can lick the Liberty Bell. You can grab bodies by the crack and lick the crap out of it. And this to me is just like from the very beginning, Barney's like, Ted, life isn't, your wife isn't going to walk into this bar. Life
Right.
isn't going to just give you things. You have to obtain these things. You have to get these things.
You have to go out and get them.
Right. It's not just going to fall in your lap singing at McLaren's every night.
Right.
And that's just so true, and goes back to Marshall. And he could sit there and study all the time, but if he goes out and does something, that could be a huge achievement instead of memorizing whatever the hell lawyers memorize.
Agreed.
How to get it.
Because if he wouldn't have left to go to Philly, he wouldn't have met the gang at the bar for last call, and then he
Exactly.
wouldn't have gotten charged by that gay guy.
Exactly. And that's legendary.
That is legendary.
So Ted agrees to go with him. During this whole time, Ted and Barney call Marshall, with Ted telling him to turn around and go back home because nothing exciting is happening, and Barney telling him to come because it will be legendary. And I believe they eventually agree to meet for last call at McLaren's. Is where it. So then we're going to go on the other side of the story here. By the way, this was so hard to find a synopsis for. I have no idea why.
Really?
It was the
Interesting.
hardest out of the 2 episodes so far. So, meanwhile, Lily and Robin go to the bar for a girls' night out. Lily becomes jealous of Robin because Robin is single and gets hit on by guys that buy her drinks, which also is because Lily has on a wedding ring.
Which
So,
is another reoccurring theme that we'll see later in the
yes,
series. The ring makes you invisible.
yes. So, my question to you is when you wear a wedding ring, is that a thing? Do people
No,
just,
no,
it, I didn't think
no,
so.
not at all.
There was a time it wouldn't have stopped me. So,
It
I
didn't
mean,
it didn't stop a lot of people, whether I had my engagement ring on or after I
yeah,
got married. Hell, I mean, there were nights where we would go to the bar and Tim would be with us, and
yeah.
it still wouldn't stop some guys at the
I
bar.
can specifically remember guys hitting on you while you were talking to me and Tim was facing the opposite way or something.
Or like Tim
And
went out for a smoke.
yeah, and I'd let
Yep.
him go for a little bit and then I'd be like, her fiance's here, right? Or,
Right.
her boyfriend's outside, right? Or, and then they look at me and be like, oh, what the fuck do we care if he's anything like you? That Tim walking in all 6 feet of him. I'm like, yeah, bitches. He looks
Yeah,
like
bitch.
Stan from Eminem. Fuck you guys. So she calls Marshall to tell him about her night, and to which Marshall assures her that she isn't being hit on because she's not being hit on because she's wearing the engagement ring. So Marshall's like, yeah, like, which in a way is true too. If I had to choose between Robin and Lily, I'm going for Robin because it's easier. I don't have
Yeah,
to fend off the I got to talk her out of being with her husband. I got to talk her out of the ring. It's
right.
just easier to try to hit on Robin. So Marshall suggests that Lily takes off the ring, which was like the big like, oh wow, didn't see that coming. Like, good for
Yeah,
him. Like, I personally like, wow, that's a secure fucking dude right there. Like,
right. Which we find out later in the episode that he's
yeah.
not as secure as he's leading on to be.
So Marshall Lily then tries to attract guys, but is still unsuccessful, getting only a gay man who told her that she sat on a grape. Now, I don't think Lily was unsuccessful because she's not good looking or she's not approachable, or Lily was unsuccessful because she really did not want to be successful.
Yeah.
She loves Marshall.
She didn't put a lot of effort into it. I think
No,
she had that mindset of like, I'm gonna take my ring off and guys are gonna flock to me, and
she wanted,
I don't have to work for it.
and also a theme of this episode, because I think she wanted to happen what Ted thought would happen. It would all
hmm
just fall into his lap.
Yeah,
And this episode's very geared around if you want things, you have to work for them. They're not
exactly.
just going to happen, which Robin tells her. Robin is annoyed by the chance. Robin Robin is annoyed by the chance in the change in Lily. Reading is important. Robin is annoyed by the change in Lily's behavior and convinces Lily that she has what most single women want: a good boyfriend. Which that's why what all single people are doing is looking for somebody to be with.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
she even calls it out. She's like, every woman in this bar
is
is
looking for what you
here
got.
because they're looking for what you already have.
Right. And I can remember on countless occasions telling Tim that. Like,
hmm
dude, you hit the jackpot. You got everything everybody else is looking for. And
Yeah.
most of the time he's like, well, yeah, I know. And like, I'm like, well, I just don't fucking forget it. Like,
Good boy.
I,
He did always
I'm,
admit that like
yeah,
he knew he had.
right. Like, I'm out here sweating, and you're like, I'm out here trying to find the girl without the engagement ring, and you got her. Like,
Yep,
well, you
yep.
put the engagement ring there, but you get what I'm saying. Um, So then Marshall walks in, and just so Marshall gets real jealous. He calls, Robin picks up. He's like, oh, is Lily with a guy, talking to a guy? Robin's like, yeah. Like, but he made it okay for Robin to say that. Like,
Right.
it wasn't like Robin was snitching or anything,
Yeah, which
which
is
they did a
another
good job of doing that.
yeah. It's
Being
another
that
one of
girl
those
code.
instances where like they show Marshall as like the cool, laid back dude who doesn't
Yeah,
care. And then when he realizes like, oh shit, Lily actually did take the ring off.
right,
She thought I was being serious. I don't like this.
right. I think Marshall's expectation was Lily wouldn't take the ring off. She'd be like, "No, babe, I wouldn't do that to you." Da
Right,
da da da.
exactly.
And then it clicked that like, oh shit, I told her to do it. Why wouldn't she do it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. So so Marshall walks in just as doing so. Um, the gay guy's offering to basically wipe Lily's ass, which I'd imagine from walking the bar looks like he's. I don't even know what it looks like he's doing.
Yeah.
Grabbing her ass cheek. Who knows? Um, Marshall, who came only because he had second thoughts about Lily removing the ring for the night, was ready to fight the guy. But he gave the guy a hug because the guy's like, "Whoa, I'm gay." Like, calm down. Like, could have just been like, this is what struck me. Could have just been like, "I'm not hitting on your girlfriend. Hi, I'm Pete. Nice to meet
Well,
you." But
I
he's just
think
like, "I'm gay."
I think what happened actually was like Marshall was insisting on fighting this dude, and Lily goes, "No, Marshall, stop. He's gay." And Marshall then goes, "Oh, thank God, I've never been in a fight before."
Yeah, I don't understand. It says we're running out of time, but I bought that damn thing. I gotta play this afterwards. We got 9 minutes, so we're good. Um, so yeah, and then the boyfriend of the gay guy gets jealous of Marshall and attacks him.
Taxel. Yeah.
What's funny here is that Marshall says he's never fought before, but
I
in
thought that was interesting too.
season 4, when it's the fight episode, I think it's season 4, where it's the fight episode,
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about who's been in fights, and Marshall's like, "I've been in tons of fights."
Right, because of his
But that's when
brothers.
they, well, right, and that's when they debate: does it count or does it not count? Because
I
they were
think
his brothers.
I think it still
But
counts.
Marshall thought it counted in that episode, but in this episode, he hasn't been in the fight. So it's a continuity
Mm,
issue type thing, according to
interesting.
WebMDB,
In
IMDb, XYZ, and MONOP.
I was gonna say, did you say WebMD? I don't think
I,
medicine has anything to do
yeah,
with this.
no, I mixed the two websites. You get endorphinal joy from watching How I Met Your Mother on WebMD XYZ, XXX porn, How I Met Your Mother porn
What?
stuff. Yeah, anyway, um, this is also so we'll just wrap this up here. So they ended up giving a hug. The guy didn't fight him. However, after seeing the game, he was jealous and they began to fight, which I don't think anything actually happened.
No.
Um Huge thing in this episode. We got legend, wait for it. I hope you're not lactose intolerant. Dairy for the first time.
Yes.
Um and also Barney, which also reminds me of Nick, really lives his gimmick. Like
Oh,
he's not just,
100.
so when they go back and show the footage of Barney doing all this, there's countless times he's gone to the airport and done this alone. Because
Mm-hmm.
if he's gonna ask Ted to go with him, he has to have it down to a T because he lives the gimmick.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
thought that was amazing.
I also thought that was really good. I also thought that aside from like Barney really like living his gimmick and wanting everything to be legendary, another really vital piece of this episode is we see Barney vulnerable for the first time.
Yes.
Because when they're in the cab, I believe it's on the way to the Liberty Bell, Ted's like, you know, I don't even know why you asked me to come on this stupid trip. Like, why do you want me involved in all these things?
Why can't you do it
And
alone? Was the big
yeah,
thing Ted said.
and Barney's like, because you're my best friend. You don't have to say that I'm yours, but it would mean more for all of this stuff to be legendary if my best friend was there doing it with me. And
Right.
that really tugs on the heartstrings because, like, the reoccurring theme of no, Ted, say I'm your best friend is something
Yes.
that we get the entire series. And it really, like, kind of comes to the surface in this episode with Barney being super vulnerable and like letting Ted and us as viewers know like this is my dude and I want
Yeah.
him to be a part of all of my legendary shit because it's important to me.
And it's almost like Marshall and Ted have all this history before Barney. So it's important that someday they can all sit down and Barney has stories too,
Yes. Yeah,
which I think is
exactly.
important.
Exactly.
Um,
Barney's kind of like playing catch up as far as the amount of history that
yes.
Marshall and Ted already have. Barney wants to have that same amount of history with Ted.
And instead of running a race, Barney's trying to run a marathon to get
Yes.
these moments.
Yes.
I also found it interesting because we've been there that when Ted's telling the story to his kids, he's like, well, it all started at McLaren's. Or were we all sipping on a beer at the bar or whatever? And his kids are like, wow, you sure hang out in the bar a lot. And I just think it's so funny because we all hung out at the bar a lot.
I mean, that's all we did in our early 20s, and that's
Right.
all they did in their early
Right.
20s
And we all
too.
sat outside on the patio or inside at the same table. And that's where we all met. We knew we would all be there. It was just a constant thing.
The one thing that really struck me from the very beginning of this episode was future Ted um annotating over like a scene with Barney and Ted going, I had no idea why I hung out with Barney.
Yes.
And I immediately got taken back to so many instances of like some stupid shit you and Timmy would do. And I either thought in my head or said it out loud because I really didn't care. Like, why am I friends with you?
That is so true, though.
So many
Um,
times.
Man, there was other people too, like Corey. We would always say, "Why
Hmm.
do we hang out with this guy?" Or
Yep.
even Holly's another good example. You're
Yeah,
like,
sometimes.
what are we doing?
Yeah, definitely.
I also think Sasha's party was funny because we have all been to just those parties that were going to be like, hell yeah, here we go, rev it up. And it's like, all right, who's going to say it first? We need to leave. Like,
We're sit
this
we're
is
sitting
not
in
your time.
somebody's basement watching like Titanic.
Right. Or like, I've been on hookups with girls where I thought it was going to be like, we're getting it on, da, da, da. We're sitting there and you gotta be quiet. My mom's downstairs. And I'm like, dude, you're 24. What do you mean your mom's downstairs? Like, is that why I had to come in through your window? Like,
Oh my
we're just climbing stairs and shit. What? So I just think that's another funny that's another funny thing to me. But yeah, the most important part was I think you can't get something without working for it. I think was probably the
Agreed.
theme of that episode.
Agreed.
And it was good.
And you may not get where you're going, but you'll always get a great story.
That's true. And the grass is not always greener, as Robin made it very clear to Lily.
Hmm.
It's not always greener. It's green where you water it.
Yeah,
It's green where you water it. So yeah, it was a good episode.
it was
I
a good
laughed
episode.
I laughed a lot more than I was at work watching it, laughing out loud.
I
I
love
just
that.
was like, it was just so good. And the international, that'll probably be the name of this, International Businessman,
I
because
think
that
that's a
was
good title.
just so. All right, tell him, Barney. We are sticking to the gimmick, living the gimmick. We are international. That man was not breaking kayfabe at
No,
all.
never. He doesn't just
No.
double down, he triples down.
Yeah, he's willing to get arrested and go to jail to live the gimmick.
Which we'll find out later on in the series that getting arrested for your best friend is in fact the dream,
It's the dream.
according to
So,
Barney at least.
yeah, at least. So
It's
we
not
will.
my dream, so
No,
don't
I'm
get any
not getting.
ideas.
I'm too old to be going getting arrested for anybody. I don't even know if my hands go back like that anymore. Um, so Saturday we will do another one. We'll do episode 4, which is a good episode. If I
I
recall
don't I
correctly,
don't even know what episode 4 is.
it is.
Give
So
the viewers a little spoiler.
season 1. It, oh, I should probably put How I Met Your Mother, just not episode 4, season 1. Just it is the return of the shirt. And I'm pretty
The
sure this is
shirt.
yeah, this is where he goes on the date again, right? Is this the I don't even remember actually. No,
Oh, you're right.
this is the redate, right?
Yep, yep, with Natalie, I
Yes.
believe.
Who then they try to go through and figure out why it didn't work, right? Or am I thinking
Hmm.
of another episode? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it didn't work. Yeah. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, so we'll be live Saturday because it's WrestleMania day.
Woohoo!
So we'll go we'll live, well not live, but you know what I mean. We'll be together in the same room. Um, again, happy birthday, Linda.
Thank you.
Happy
31
birthday.
was great.
31. Um, I'm going Seth Rollins and John Cena for the main events of WrestleMania. Those are my picks. Seth Rollins and John. I'm getting it on record here. It's in the flesh.
Since it's WrestleMania, I gotta go with my heart. I'm going Punk and Cody.
Punk and Cody. All right. That's
Punk and Cody.
it's not often we're different. So
The best
it'll
in the
be
world and the
interesting.
American Nightmare.
It'll be different. But all right. Well, on that note,
Up top.
up top. Later, guys.
Bye.
It's gonna be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant because the second half of that word is dairy.